Shalom Aleichem. This is amazing. Utterly amazing. As I've mentioned to you and many others before we came on this project here in Israel, we wanted to film and do faith lessons at sites that nobody goes to, but where Bible events happen. You're looking at one, and I'm holding perhaps even part of the culture of that day. Just as an aside, I was in a pile of pottery, and we actually saw pottery there that's got numbers on the back, indelible markers, as if somebody was studying in here. I don't want to touch it. It could be that they'll be coming back. Maybe there was some archaeological work being done here. So it's been quite amazing for me. I'm like a little kid in a candy store. And being like a little kid in a candy store, let me describe where we're at. Basically, Gaza, as you know, the city of Gaza is right here, just to our west. I'm going to guess maybe 20 miles, 25 miles. Beersheba is down this way, and it's not going to be too long when we'll be staying there. There is a city, a Muslim city to my east here. I think it was called Ramat. If you actually take a look on the map, and there's a Jewish village right across from it called Shoval. We're in the southern part of Israel. We're on the coastal plain, and this is called Tel Sera. That's in English. In Hebrew, it's Tel Sera. This is one of three candidates for the town of Ziklag. And some of you may say, wow. Some of you may say, so? What's Ziklag? Well, first of all, let me say three candidates. There's this one. There are two others in this area. These are tells, and it's pretty clear that not much, if any, archaeological work has been done here whatsoever. There's a possibility some of it was done here. I don't know. I have no idea. I've not read the reports. But with the pottery we found here, or the pottery find here that we see, it could very well be that some work has been done here. It's got to be, unless it was dug up here along the road through plowing. I'm not sure. And that could happen too, because the city would have been extended out here. I'm holding one of those pieces right now, and this is a jar handle. To me, in terms of studying pottery, I could not tell you today even what era is this. Is this Middle Ages? I'm not sure. Is it Roman, or the Roman period when Rome controlled this area? Is it to the days of David, when David perhaps lived at Ziklag? I'm not sure. So it's really quite a find. I'm going to put this back, leave it here, but let me explain Ziklag. I'm going to use God's word again, because again, what we like to do is to take you to archaeological sites, religious sites, where the event happened. The archaeologists say this is probably the leading candidate. And so there's a number of archaeologists who I reference all the time. One of them is Benjamin Mazar, and his granddaughter, Eliat Mazar, is digging in Jerusalem right now and found David's city. And Benjamin Mazar, he says that this is the leading candidate for Ziklag. Again, we don't know. We'll trust their judgment. And even if it's not, we get a pretty good picture of the fact of the area where this happened. What is Ziklag? Well, what happens is this. You remember the story that David ran away from Saul when Jonathan shot an arrow past David as an indication that Saul wanted to kill David. David started running perhaps 10, 11, 12, maybe 15 years. At the end of that chase, in 1 Samuel 27, we finally read that Saul gives up on David. He had other matters to take care of. David gives up, and it says, then David said to himself, now I will perish one day by the hand of Saul. There is nothing better for me than to escape into the land of the Philistines. Saul then will despair of searching for me anymore in all the territory of Israel, and I will escape from his hand," which he did. And he goes to the king of Achish, the king of Gath, which is the Goliath story, because King Achish was the king of Goliath, king of Gath, and the king of Goliath himself. Goliath, that would have been his king. And David becomes part of, and his 600 men, of the military forces guarding the southern approaches to the Philistine territory. Now, a little bit later on, in that same chapter, it's starting in verse 5, it says, "Then David said to Achish, 'If now I have found favor in your sight, let them give me a place in one of the cities of your country, that I may live there. For why should your servant live in the royal city with you?' So Achish gave him Ziklag." Is this it? That day. So again, archaeologists say this could be the leading candidate for that city as we're taking a look at this Tel Sera, which could actually be Ziklag in the Bible. Now, if that's the case, a little bit later on, we recognize this as we take a look at God's Word. What we recognize is that the 5 Philistine city-states from Gaza, Ashkelon, Ashdod, Gath, and Ekron are going north, and they're going to fight Saul in the Jezreel Valley, which is like probably 150 miles from here, way up north. David, because he is part of the forces of Achish, goes with Achish from Gath, and they meet at Aphek. Now, those of you that are watching these videos, we do have a video on Aphek, and we do talk a little bit about that meeting that they had where they said the 4 Philistine kings look at King Achish and say, "Who is this?" It's David. And he said, "We've heard the song that they're singing. David has slain his 10,000s and Saul his thousands." And they're basically saying, "We do not want the Israeli Delta Force behind us. We know what this man could do with his 600 men. And we already know that God was really blessing David and his 600 men as quite a mighty force." At any rate, they say, "Go back."